And the Zone.
Who wants coffee? Anybody wants coffee?
Can you get me off the hook? Roll type say.
Your tire's tired.
He ain't good looking, but he sure ain't shy. He's a northern bred, southern fed, slick talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Tide and Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
Testosterone high today.
Yeah, Tom's a man, he's got the plan, he's really got it made. What a wife he's got, she's smoking hot, check out the junkyard babe. When everything is said and done, no one can beat his show. He's a high-tech redneck, Tony Soprano. If you love sports without the fluff, he's got the master plan. Cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham, yeah.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? If somebody responds.
And good morning, everyone, and welcome to a Beat the Big Dog Thursday in the Dog. Maybe this is the week that it actually happens. All right, maybe you guys will actually get the win this week. It could happen. You never know. It could happen. Now, phone lines are open. Feel free to jump in, 256-576-4977. That's me on the left of your screen. That's Coach Grizz's chair on the right of your screen. Oh, he just jumped in there, and now he's in and out. He's in and out. I always got to tell him he's doing too many different things. Once the red light goes on the morning show and on the Thom Abraham show, that's when he needs to slam his door shut and tell everybody, stay the heck away from me. All right? And then he could do his thing because he's got to answer phones and do all that kind of good stuff at 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. You can also text our show at 732-9TA-SHOW at 732-982-7469, which is a great way to communicate with us. Now, my Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The station's Twitter feed is 97.7 ESPN, and the Twitch and the Facebook is 97.7 ESPN as well. You can watch the show there, as you can on the YouTube channel at 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. I was going to wear a red shirt today with my Braves hat in honor of the Braves' win last night to get their magic number down to 1, but I spilled coffee on my red shirt this morning, and I can't wear the Braves' red, white, and blue hat with a black shirt, okay? So I went back to the Yankees' black hat, mourning their loss from last night. So, get the app, will you? Will you get our app? Go to 977ESPN.com. You get links to all of that stuff. But go to your app store on your phone, whether you got an Android or a iPhone, and you can find our app. There you get links to Zone 2, which is something you'll need tonight for the start of the Huntsville High game against Albertville. While the Nick Saban show is on, Huntsville High against Albertville will start on Zone 2 with Austin Coletti and Drew Arman, and then it'll go on the air as soon as the Nick Saban show is over with. It'll be on the air and on our primary stream and on Zone 2. If you're listening on Zone 2, you can leave it on Zone 2, and you can listen to it right there. So we'll have that game for you tonight. Tomorrow night, Madison Academy with a huge region game at home against 6-0 Randolph. It's the game of the week. At least in North Alabama, if not the state. I mean, it's a big game. Steve Moulton and Glenn Laird will have that one for you on air and online on our primary stream on Friday, and, of course, over the air as well. Now, coming up in a few minutes, the TOCSports prep preview with Tom Perkins of TOC. A lot of good games. A lot of good games coming up this week. All right? I'll tell you what, that Bob Jones Sparkman game is nothing to sleep on either. We'll get into that. We'll talk about a few other things with the week ahead here in high school football. Tonight, the one game, and then tomorrow night, a full slate of games. Now, later on, at the top of the 11, Steve Merril is in from Pro Sports Info with his take on this week's action. And then after Steve, we're going to beat the big dog. All right, so we've now beat the big dog. Today will be about 11:25. We did it about 10:40. And I have opened it to different time slots each Thursday so that, different people who are listening can get the chance to listen to the game or listen to the show and get in there on Beat the Big Dog. Remember, in Beat the Big Dog, that's just one of yous. It's not the Friday trifecta. All right? It's certainly not the Pick 2. It's the Beat the Big Dog. And one of yous will get a shot at me. And you get advice from Coach Grizz on the games as well. He's 500, which is better than you guys are. All right? So maybe you might want to listen to him. If you beat me, we're going to hook you up with the chow at Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, which I am still sitting on. But sitting on that thing for a month. Unless somebody went in a drawer and snagged it and went and ate the burger. Hopefully, Grizz won't let anybody do that. You don't go in Grizz's prize drawer, okay? He guards that thing, lock and key. Because you never know when somebody, you know what I'm talking about, Grizz, somebody may slip into the drawer and go eat the burger. At some time this season, somebody's going to beat me. I got beat 7 times last year in 22 weeks, 23 weeks. I got beat 7 times. Haven't been beat yet this year, but it'll happen at some point in time. I keep track of every pick for the season. We'll see how you guys do against me for the season. The listeners have won the season-long battle twice in 13 years, where you ended up with a better record against the spread. It's the way we do things here, against the spread, than me. Now, last week, you couldn't beat me because I was 6-0. I do this a couple of times a year, you know. Just drop a little 6-0 on you. 6-0 against the spread last week. And that does not count the bonus pick of Illinois, because I was requested to make a pick on that game, or the Cowboys, which Grizz requested on Monday night. Hopefully he utilized that information I gave him. I don't know. He asked me like 5 minutes before kickoff. I gave him the information. I don't know if it was he was throwing $2 down on a game or what, but I gave him the information. So, but I didn't add those 2 picks, which were also wins. So it was really 8-0. But I didn't add those 2 picks into the mix. I just did the picks that I give you during Beat the Big Dog, and I'm now 18-6 against the spread. 18-6. Now, after a 4-2 week for Sean last week, now not Sean, but just, Sean. Should we call him Sean? Sean last week. Not Sean, but Sean last week got in. And he went 4-2, which is really, good. I mean, I'm no math major, but 4-2 sounds like 66%. You make some money on 4-2. Not 6-0, but 4-2. Now, you guys are now 9-15 on the season. So the gap continues to widen. The gap is not closing. I mean, it's not not closing.
I can assure you that the gap is closing.
It's not. I mean, you went 4-2. You think that the gap would close a little bit.
I can assure you that the gap is closing.
It didn't. It actually widened a little bit. But still, that's a good job by you guys. I have 4 college games and 2 NFL games on the sheet today. And Grizz does not know what they are. But they are out there. The Braves have now moved within 1 win or 1 Philly loss, which both things could happen tonight, of closing out the NL East for the 4th year in a row.
1-2 pitch. Swings and a shot down the left field line. Whizzing down the line and hit hard. This will drive in 2 runs. In to score Soler. Here comes Ozzie, and Riley comes through. 2 RBI double. 5-2 Atlanta here in the 7th. That's a huge knock. Pitch on the way. Ground ball weakly out to short. Dansby charges. He scoops. He fires over. And the Braves are 1 win away. They win tonight 7-2 over the Phillies.
Chris is holding up signs to me. What did I say? He doesn't listen to the show. I said they move within 1 win or 1 Philly loss. You see? So they can, if they lose tonight, they can still, 1 Philly loss or 1 win. That's all. 1 win or 1 Philly loss. They just need to win 1 more game. No matter what Philadelphia does, all the Braves need to do is win 1 more game, which could happen tonight. Or if they lose every game the rest of the season, Philadelphia loses 1 game, then the Braves win. All right? That's what magic number means. Austin Riley's out of his mind. What's he got, 105, 104 RBI now? I mean, the dude is a legit MVP candidate. I mean, think about this. Last year, in the bastardized 60-game playoff tournament, Freddie Freeman was the MVP. They call him the National League MVP for 2020. But let's be honest. That was a BS season, right? And then Freddie opened the season this year, and he stunk for 2 months. Stunk. His numbers are all back to where they normally would be. So you would think the way the season started, remember, Austin Riley was struggling at the beginning of the season. And the way the season was going, you would have thought, that if there was a MVP candidate, it was Ronald Acuna Jr. I mean, that's the guy, Ronald Acuna Jr. He's the MVP. Austin Riley out of his ever-loving mind. I don't have his full numbers in front of me. He's over 100 RBI. He's, well over 30 home runs. I mean, Austin Riley, I'm trying to think who is the, with the way the San Diego Padres fell apart, I'm trying to think who is the MVP. Austin Riley's hitting .302 with 32 bombs and 103 RBI. Austin Riley. I mean, we talked about this kid in years past and whether or not he could, stop swinging at junk. And .302 in a season where 240 sounds good, dude is hitting .302 with 32 bombs and 103 RBI. I don't know. I mean, I think Shohei Ohtani is the MVP in the American League. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like what Shohei Ohtani has done. I mean, can you imagine Austin Riley hitting .302 and 32 home runs and 103 RBI and having a 3.02 ERA and striking out 200 guys? I mean, that's how stupid what Shohei Ohtani has done. But I don't know. I don't follow the National League as close. I don't know who's the MVP in the National League. What am I missing? Bryce Harper was a guy that was having a great year, but, he doesn't have Austin Riley numbers. The number 3 prospect in the country, the number 1 wide receiver, Evan Stewart out of Frisco, Texas, has decided to bag the rest of his senior season to prepare for college football. And I'm telling you that this is going to become more widespread, and it's a problem. Stewart is not committed, but he has Alabama, Florida, Texas, LSU atop his list. Now, this season he had 19 catches, 414 yards, 3 touchdowns, averages 21.8 yards per catch. He's a little guy-ish, 6 foot, 175-pounder. So how did the colleges react to a guy bagging his, just quitting on his team? Oh, I know the rhetoric. I know what the rhetoric will be. Pull the offer. But really, will anybody do that? Really? Can we get some feedback from one of these coaches? Can someone ask Nick Saban his thoughts about it tonight on the Nick Saban Show? Can someone ask? Not specifically about this kid, because he can't talk about particular kids. But to somebody call Nick Saban and say, Coach, what do you think about high school kids that quit their senior year or don't play their senior year to get ready for college? How do you react to that? And get a general comment from him on that. Now, remember, allegedly, Saban said at the Coach of the Year clinic back in 2020 that if a high school kid is going to be transferring around the country to different schools, that he doesn't even want to recruit you. That's what Saban said. Allegedly. He said that he didn't want to recruit them because they lacked perseverance and grit. Now, there's no audio or video of Saban saying that. It was passed along secondhand that this is what Nick Saban said. But does that mean when kids go to like prep schools like IMG to better themselves? Or is he talking about kids that just jump around? You know how he feels about the transfer portal? How a kid should hang in there. You know how he feels about a kid leaving too early to go to the NFL. And how if you're not a first or second round pick, you really should hang around and improve your stock. Allegedly, he doesn't like seeing high school kids transfer around to various schools. Says they lack perseverance and grit. Allegedly. But Bama has taken guys out of IMG. But how does he feel about a kid that just flat out quits on his team? Would he literally pull the offer from that kid? Can't win with you. Or is he just going to pontificate about it? You know I love Saban. Is he just going to talk about it? Or is he going to literally pull an offer from a kid? I mean, look, we have seen Nick Saban over the years bitch about scheduling cupcakes. We have seen him talk about wanting to play 9 or even 10 SEC games. And how nobody wants to go to a cupcake game. The players don't want to play in a cupcake game. How there should be a system in place where the P5s just pay those schools some money out of their revenue and play better games. But Alabama continues to schedule 3 of them a year. I mean, if you're going to talk about it, I understand talking about it. Do something about it. At least move up to, and they have some schedules down the road where, they'll have like 2 P5 games. But do something about it. Just play 1 cupcake. If you don't like playing 3 cupcakes, just play 1. Schedule better. Same situation with this. Over there in that little glass room, playing the Platters of Matter and the Stacks of Wax and keeping us on air and flashing signs at me about the Braves like I don't understand what a magic number means. It's Coach Chris.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Now, Tom. Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
What was the sign that you were holding up to me? What were you trying to tell me?
Nothing. I was just saying one more game. I mean,
one more game.
One more game. And I put just win next to it.
Yeah.
Just win. I just want him to win. Yeah, anytime we can beat the Phillies and Bryce Harper, it's a good day. I'm sorry.
So that would be
as a Braves fan, it just feels good to sweep Bryce Harper and the Phillies.
So that would be a win and a Phillies loss. So that would be 2. That would mean their magic number would be -1.
I'd be cool with that.
If they
would
got
be totally cool with that.
Yeah.
But when I look at this race, when you're talking about the MVP, I'm gonna have to go back through the archives and find a little clip that I think I said about Austin Riley being possibly an MVP caliber player. Way a month ago, 2 months and a half ago,
more than that, maybe
2 months ago,
more than that, yeah.
I mean, but if I look at the stats, it's going to be really close. All these guys are.
Who's the other guy?
You either have got Tatis or Juan Soto.
You can't go Tatis and Juan Soto. You can't do it because at the end of the day, Austin Riley is carrying his team to a division title.
Yeah.
Juan Soto's a great player. The team sucks. Yeah. So, in other words, if you took Juan Soto off of that team, what would happen? They'd finish last like they're finishing anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you took Fernando Tatis, you can't do it. You can't do it for Fernando Tatis because, as Machado said, you just it ain't about you. Mm-hmm. It ain't just about you. So Fernando Tatis did not lead his team to anything. They're sub 500 for God's sakes. Sub 500. Okay? Forget about them. They got good numbers, but MVP. Yeah. If you took Austin Riley off of the Braves in the last 2 months, do they win the division? I think he's the most valuable player out there because he carried his team to a division title.
Yeah, I can see that, especially before the trade deadline as well. He probably wasn't the hottest like he is now before the trade deadline, but definitely after the trade deadline, kind of carrying the team for sure. I think when they look at this kind of stuff, I mean, he does have more RB because Bryce Harper is the front runner in this article I'm reading for what they believe.
How old is that article? Because Harper is kind of fallen off.
I'm looking at his stats right now. They have Austin Riley and Bryce Harper have the same wins above replacement. I believe that Austin Riley has more hits and more at bats. He has 2 less home runs. The batting average is about the same. It's like 308, 302, around that range. Bryce Harper has a few more runs than Austin Riley does. Austin Riley has more RBIs. Bryce Harper has the stolen bases. His on-base percentage and his slugging percentage the on-base percentage is 430 and his slugging percentage is 612, which is way better than what Austin Riley's doing right now. So I think when they kind of look at this, they look at, especially with these MVP type of things, I feel like that it's going to be more of an individual award than that it is being, the best guy on, if you're off your team, are you going to be a different team? Or are you going to be a losing team or something like that? I mean, I don't know about Bryce Harper though.
I'm telling you right now, when I look at Bryce Harper, and I love Bryce Harper. A lot of people hate Bryce Harper. Yeah. I love Bryce Harper. I'll be totally honest with you. But here's my thing about Bryce Harper, and here's my thing the way I would be voting as an MVP voter. Yeah. Okay? In this key matchup at the end of the season, in his huge matchup at the end of the season, Bryce Harper did not play well. Bryce Harper did not lead his team to victories over Atlanta to take the division away from the Atlanta Braves. Austin Riley carried his team. Austin Riley picked his team up, put him on his shoulders, both last couple of nights, and carried his team to these victories. Yeah. While Bryce Harper was going 0 for 4 last night and 1 for 3 the previous night.
He struck out 3 times last night.
Striking out 3 times last night. 1 for 7. Bryce Harper, in the games against Atlanta, Bryce Harper is 13 for 64. 13 for 64! Is that 200 even?
That's worth $300 million right there.
Well, you got to play your best against the best.
He struck out twice, too, in the first game at 3 at-bats.
That's what I'm saying.
And had a walk.
So to me, you can look at his entirety of his year and say, look, Bryce Harper's had a really nice year. Yeah. He is. He's hitting 308. He's got 34 home runs. He's only got 82 RBI. That's 21 less than Austin Riley. To me, that's very, very important. Of course, now a lot of it has to do with your team. You got to have somebody on base for you to knock them in. I understand that. But Bryce Harper has failed in the games against Atlanta. And if you're failing against Atlanta, then you are not doing what you need to do to help your team win in the biggest games of the year. What has Austin Riley done against Philadelphia? Austin Riley has 18 hits. He has 3 home runs. He was 2 for 5 2 nights ago. Or last night. He's coming up with the big hits. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
I think Austin Riley is the MVP. I think it's going to be close. But I think Austin, unless he falls apart in the last, I don't know that the last 4 games could swing it. The thing is, though, if the Braves win tonight, don't they have the opportunity? Now, you don't have the 40 guys like you used to back in the day when you would have 40, when you have the September call-up.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
28. You only get the total of 28. But what an opportunity for them to set up their pitching, and they're going to play Milwaukee. So it's
I like the matchup. I really like the matchup.
I mean, yeah, I like it a lot more than playing the Dodgers or the Giants.
And one of their pitchers just broke his hand celebrating for the Brewers. He pulled a Huascar Ynoa, and he wasn't mad. He was celebrating and punched a wall. I don't know how you do that. But.
Why would you punch the wall if you were celebrating?
He said he was just having a good/bad night, and he just happened to punch the wall.
Brewers are kind of stumbling into the playoffs. They won last night, but they're 4-6. They're just kind of stumbling in.
But see, they do that. These last few years that they've been good and winning their division or making the playoffs, they kind of falter when it comes to getting into the playoffs. I mean, when they made that magic run with Nigel Morgan and that team, they were fun to watch.
Cardinals finally lost the game.
Thank God. It's a good day.
No. You know what though? I just want to see. All I want to do is see the Cardinals take the Giants out or the Dodgers out.
That would be nice. Yeah.
I just want to see the Cardinals take the Giants out, or the Dodgers out, I should say, and then they'd have to play the Giants.
I would like
I mean,
that. They would play really well against them.
Because
I would like that. They would play
they're
really well against them.
Because they're the wild card. If they beat the Dodgers in a wild card game, then they play the Giants. So the Giants and the Dodgers, the two best teams in baseball, would have to play the hottest team in baseball. I mean, they're only 88 and 70 on the season, but they're the hottest team in baseball, the Cardinals. All right, let's get it right. Of course, in the American League, with the Toronto win over the Yankees last night, are you kidding me with this wild card? The Yankees have a one-game lead over the Red Sox for the first wild card. One game. The Mariners are a half a game behind the Red Sox for the second wild card, and the Blue Jays are one game behind the Red Sox for the second wild card. The Blue Jays are only 2 games behind the Yankees for the first wild card. I mean, you know, the Yankees got a game and a half lead over Seattle for the first wild card, any wild card. 4 teams within 2 games. 4 teams within 2 games. It's unreal. All right, let's get a break. Tom Perkins is coming up next. It is our TOC Sports Prep Preview right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
College football tonight in the ACC. Virginia traveling to take on Miami. Cavaliers 0-2 in conference play and looking for their first win. Canes playing their conference opener. Miami a 5.5-point home favorite. The over-under 62.5. The latest odds for Defensive Player of the Year. Myles Garrett of the Browns now the odds-on favorite, plus 400 odds, followed by Aaron Donald at plus 450. Chandler Jones at plus 1,200, and Jalen Ramsey, TJ Watt, and Nick Bosa each at plus 1,600 odds. NFL Thursday night, the Jaguars at the Bengals. Cincinnati the home favorite, minus 7.5. The over-under 46. Jacksonville 0-3 outright and against the spread. Bengals 2-1 against the spread and outright.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
TOCSports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOCSports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOCSports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOCSports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOCSports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOCSports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Maybe the air doesn't blow like it should, or it's needing new tires, or you're just ready for something newer. It's time to move up, time to trade up. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your current car or truck is worth more than you know. In fact, we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't trade. We have nearly 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. It's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your vehicle is worth more right now at Woody Anderson Ford. Corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
Thom Abraham here from my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. BlueRidge.com.
What can you expect when you shop for a firearm at Bullet & Barrel? Expect great prices. We specialize in quality over quantity. Expect great service. Our professional sales staff is never pushy. We won't talk you into something that doesn't fit your needs. You have the right to make a smart, informed decision. Expect Bullet & Barrel, Alabama's only 5-star indoor shooting range, to support you after the sale. Bullet & Barrel, 3252 Lehman Ferry Road. Like or follow us on Facebook. Come see us soon.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly to mostly cloudy sky this afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures hanging out in the lower 80s. Opportunities for scattered showers, maybe even a couple of thunderstorms. The best chance for that is going to be locations west of the I-65 corridor. If you're east of the I-65 corridor, especially across far northeast Alabama, your opportunities for rain are actually quite small. A warm, humid night across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures only dropping into the mid and upper 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, more of the Thom Abraham Show on your home for Crimson Tide Sports, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
Thank you, Eli. Welcome back. Thom Abraham Show. This segment of the show brought to you by TOCSports. Don't forget the Friday night clinic, after-hours clinic. TOCSports open every Friday night after all of the games. And did you know that if your doctor says that you really kind of need to go see an orthopedic, you can actually request to see a doc at TOCSports? And we are joined now by Tom Perkins from TOC for our TOCSports Prep Preview. Tom, am I lying about any of that?
No, you're not lying at all. You've been saying it correctly every week for the past several weeks, my friend. It is 100% true. When you go see your general physician, obviously, you got to know what kind of insurance you have and what you're allowed to do. But yes, if you go to a general practitioner and for an issue and they say, hey, you know what, you need to see an orthopedic doctor, you can stop them right there and say, that's cool, I want to go to TOC. I want to go see the docs at TOCSports. That's what I want to see. And he'll write them down and set you up, and you'll be on your way. And it's that easy. You as the patient have a lot of choices to make for yourselves. And for some people that can be difficult. For others, it can be easier. And we're one of the ones that try to make it easy for folks.
Yeah, and it's not like it's an insurance issue. You know what I mean? It's not like your doc that is doing the recommendation or the referral, oh, no, I can only refer you to this guy or that guy because of insurance reasons.
No.
It's all the same.
No.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. I mean, sometimes insurances require you to go see your general practitioner first.
Sure.
Before going to see a specialist. And in those cases, that's when we encourage each and every one to know that they can make that decision from there. And if you don't need to see your general practitioner before getting a recommendation, then you as a patient can flat out say, you know what, I'm hurting. I know these guys at TOC are good. I'm going to go check them out. And you just give us a holler at 256-539-2728, and we'll set you up at all our 13 locations, any of them.
And if you specifically want to see a particular doctor, I mean, you could either say TOCSports just in general, or you can say, hey, I want to see Dr. Greco, I want to see Dr. Davis, whatever it is, and then that works as well. If there's a particular doc that maybe you've heard on the show, or maybe that or somebody else has recommended, you could just call them out by name, the doctor, and that works too for a referral.
100%. With over 30 physicians and 6 sports medicine certified specialists in our sports medicine group, I mean, it's hard to go wrong with any direction you decide to turn to. So these guys are highly skilled specialists, have the specificity of tackling each and every unique ailment. And if you decide, hey, you know what? Like Dr. Cantrell lives down the street from me. I see him out running or whatever, and have a nice conversation with him. I'll go check him out. It really is that simple. And in a place like North Alabama, Huntsville especially, you have folks that really rely on that word of mouth, and it's very, very important to have that good reputation out and about in the community. I feel like we have that.
And there are guys within the TOC Sports family that specialize within the specialty. Yes, they're orthopedics, but this guy specializes in knees. That guy does shoulders. This guy does ankles. He's the foot guy. So that's kind of cool as well. That it's like specialists within the specialty.
Yeah, and people will see very shortly that the 927 Franklin Street building, our mothership building, is really going to start expanding and offering even more services to the patients. But yeah, you're right. We strive really hard to compartmentalize and keep everything in-house and try to make sure that everybody has the best service and best expedited service too. And that's the thing with orthopedic injuries. Heck, that's the thing with any injuries. The time frame. How long will it be? How long will it be? How long will it be? So we do everything we can to shorten as many time frames as we can to get everybody back in the game, back in the game of life, or just back in the game in general.
The Tom Perkins picture at the video feed of the show today, Tom has a shirt on, which is good. We freaked you a couple of times with the shirt off. It looks like a Christmas party. Maybe it's at a Christmas tree in the background, stockings hung by the fireplace. Tom, very happy about something with a big thumbs up in there. Maybe a selfie. I'm not sure because I can only see one hand in the photograph. But you look to be very festive in this picture, Tom.
If it's Christmas time, it is the time of festivities.
Yes.
I can't recall exactly what picture you pulled out. I'll have to go back and check it myself. But hey, if it's Christmas, if I'm wearing a red shirt, and if I'm smiling, hey, that means that I just made my list for Santa, and I'm just excited about Christmas Day.
Yeah, you definitely were excited in that particular shot, that's for sure. And people can check that out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and anywhere else that you get your streaming video, Twitch. We have it out there for everybody to check out. All right, tonight on our air, Huntsville High hosts Albertville at Milton Frank. Huntsville High, we talk about this. They played Bob Jones down to the wire, went into overtime there. They played Clemens, really, really tough, right down to the wire as well, scoring a lot of points in both of those games, just needing one more stop to get a win there. Now, after an off week, they get Albertville comes in. Albertville's also 1-4 on the season, but an opportunity here for the Panthers to get a good feeling, a good vibe, and get some payoff for the way they've been playing the last few weeks, even though they came up short.
Well, tonight's game is a very, very special game, and for two reasons. First reason, this is a chance for Chip English to not only get – he's already gone back at his old school. Now it's time to get his back at his old rival. So this is a really big game. If you don't think that Chip English and Mark Fleetwood aren't thinking about this game and the importance of this and the relevancy of it despite the matchup, you're crazy. These guys went at each other, full respect for one another, but, man, when you're Grissom and Huntsville, you were rivals. So now, to a certain extent, Chip is fresh coming off of his stint at Grissom, and now he's trying to turn around at Albertville. So this game is monumentally huge. Albertville's coming off that first 7A win and really trying to ride that momentum, and you've got Huntsville that has just been really close, and they're fighting and they're scrapping, and they just don't have the record that reflects just how much fight that they put out there. But this is a really big game, and the second reason is, we, as our sports medicine continues to grow, we try each and every day to meet the needs of those folks that require those services, sports medicine services, in particular schools. Highly competitive schools really need the best care available around. So I'm really happy to announce that TOC, in partnership with Marshall Medical Center, which is part of the Huntsville Hospital Health System, have recently been chosen and have formed a partnership with Albertville City Schools to be the sports medicine providers for Albertville High School. There'll be an official announcement at the game, but this is a really big deal, and it really shows how our program is helping expand the coverage and the service outside of Madison County to outlying areas in this community that are growing exponentially.
That's very, very cool, adding Albertville to the mix. Now, our game tomorrow night is colossal. I mean, you got this game here, Randolph 6-0 for the first time ever. Madison Academy at 4-1 after losing week 1. They've whipped off 4 straight wins. Both teams are 3-0 in the region. Both that are tied for the region lead and so on. I mean, this is just an absolute monumental game. You've got the number 1 defense in Randolph against the number 2 offense in Madison Academy. Madison Academy has never lost a game to Randolph. I mean, they've never lost a game to Randolph. And Randolph comes in with the best team right now that they have ever had. What a game this ought to be tomorrow night again on our air.
It's hard to think that 10 years ago, if you would have said, well, even if Randolph had a team at that point, you say Randolph and Madison Academy, this is just for the region lead, and this is for more bragging rights. I mean, you probably wouldn't have believed it. It just wouldn't have made sense on paper. But lo and behold, look at Randolph now. They're not just a team, but they're a formidable team. They're a team to contend with. And now, man, they've got the fight of their life coming up. And who better to play than the rival cross town, Madison Academy. Now, you're talking about 2 really good teams that match up fairly well. This has all the makings of a slobber knocker, if you ask me. Just cloud of dust and 3 yards. So I think it'll be low scoring, but I really like this matchup. And for both of them to be 3-0 in Region 7 and to really set the tone for the rest of the season. I mean, guys, this is really, whoever wins this one is going to be in the driver's seat, probably better than many other teams in other regions. And to get a monkey off your back after never having beat this other team, they'll make a plaque of it and hang it in Randolph. This will be huge. It really will. This is a monumental.
Yeah, Daniel Moore. They'll do a Daniel Moore painting of the game.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Randolph. I didn't know Randolph had football back in the 70s. Apparently, Madison Academy was 7-0 against them in the 70s, and then of course they disbanded football. They've been 4-0 in the 2010s, and then, of course the forfeit last season and everything. I don't know if it's going to be low scoring. Now they both have great defenses. But Randolph averages 38 points a game, and Madison Academy averages 39 points a game. So this is that deal where it's like great offense against great defense, and which wins out? Which one will be exposed as maybe a pretender. So I think that this is it's a fascinating game. It's just going to be a really good game.
It's huge. This game is huge. I think it's going to take them the first half to really kind of figure out a stride. Does the defense set the tone? Does the offense set the tone? Will it be an exchange of scores? Will it just be, 3 downs and a punt? But I think it'll take some time for the game to kind of set its own tone of who's going to rise from the top. And then the second half will be the telltale of who comes out on top and who's really conditioned for this win. But, man, we haven't we've had a lot of exciting games in town, and I'm not downplaying any of the matchups and rivals we've had so far. But, folks, this is one of the biggest ones by far this year.
Yeah, it is. And then over in, at Madison City School Stadium, you've got Clemens hosting Florence. Clemens is tied. They're 3-0 in 7A Region 4, and they're tied with Sparkman. Sparkman's also 3-0, 3-2 overall, but 3-0 in the region. The team that is behind those two teams is Bob Jones. They're 2-1 in the region, and Bob Jones is at Sparkman, while Clemens is hosting Florence. I mean, those two games are phenomenal games as well.
You've got to keep in mind, even in this region, 7A Region 4, yes, first place is 7-0, first place is 3-0, but listen to this. Fourth place is 2-1. Yeah. So you are one game away from dropping to fourth place in this region. So you're going to tell me that each and every game isn't monumentally important at this point? Man, I tell you. So James Clemens just needs to be ready. They're riding high. They're handling their business. They play really solid football. They've got the horses in the stable. And don't forget, this is a reunion for Wade Waldrop. Facing his old team out there in Florence. So this has extra meaning for him. He'll have the inside track. He'll know a little bit more of what to prep for. But I think in the end the Jets just are flying too high, and man, I think they'll hold their own when this thing wraps up in the fourth quarter.
Well, Sparkman has beaten Bob Jones each of the last two seasons after, the Patriots had won 12 in a row. They owned the series lead 30-18, but this Sparkman team is a very good team. Now, Bob Jones hung with Auburn last week. A lot of people thought that would be a blowout. I was following that game on the Twitter, and, Bob Jones was down by just 7, 21-14 at the half. And then Auburn kind of took off in the second half of that game. So they played, though, pretty well for a half in that game. Sparkman's off of a bye over that, so this one's at Sparkman. So, again, just a colossal game.
Colossal game. Very important for Sparkman. Very important for Bob Jones. They're still in it. They're 2-1 in third place. Again, 3-0, 2-1. This thing is not settled by any stretch of the imagination, and every single game is going to be so important in the positioning here in your region. And, Sparkman will have their hands full. Now, they have the advantage of having it at home, which is always an advantage for Sparkman. That usually when they're good, that really, really plays to their advantage. So they'll have that going for them. But Bob Jones, man, you're just talking about the scrappiest of teams. We saw it when they played James Clemens. We saw it when they held on against Huntsville. So they've got a scrappy team, which I don't think their record truly reflects just how potentially talented this team is. And, let's not forget, this is brother against brother. Kelvis and LeBron White love meeting each other, I'm sure, for bragging rights around the Thanksgiving table. But this is when it starts getting good, folks. And Tom, you can talk to this. When we get into the meat of things, not just the region, but when each game starts mattering, just a matter of a half a game or a full game here or there, and week to week can change the landscape, this is as best as it gets, really. And we've got some really good, scrappy teams that are putting together good seasons. And don't forget, these 3-2s, 2-3 teams that are playing, a lot of these teams around town are young teams. So we'll circle back around and see a lot of this talent come next year.
And it's going to be a great night for high school football as well. It should be very comfortable out there at the games. Tom Perkins has been our guest for the TOC Sports Prep Preview. Tom, I appreciate you so much, man. And you have to go look at the replay of the show and see what the picture is that we had up of you.
I will certainly do that. Got a big night with Albertville and Huntsville. Got to prep for that. So it'll be a great day. It's a good day for North Alabama. It's a great day for TOC and sports medicine and the folks in the community. It's what I get up and love to do every day. It's just spreading the good gospel about what we do and who we do it for. And I just appreciate guys like you who help support what we do out there and the people we help, because, man, we love it, and we want to do it as long as we can and as great as we can for as long as people need us.
Always appreciate it. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, brother. Have a good weekend.
Let's get a break, and then we'll come back and wrap up hour number 1 next, right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead, ran away, and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. Baumhauer's Victory Grill is your big game headquarters all fall long. And with our new fall features, every day is game day at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Try our pregame starters, including our homemade onion strings, always fresh hot lips, and our all-new Buffalo Dippin' Chicken appetizer. Our main events include incredible chicken, fish, and shrimp selections, always featuring local Alabama Gulf seafood. And don't forget our Sunday Blitz, 11 to 6. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly to mostly cloudy sky this afternoon across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures hanging out in the lower 80s. Opportunities for scattered showers, maybe even a couple of thunderstorms. The best chance for that is going to be locations west of the I-65 corridor. If you're east of the I-65 corridor, especially across far northeast Alabama, your opportunities for rain are actually quite small. A warm, humid night across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee. Temperatures only dropping into the mid and upper 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
More intense than a Nick Saban press conference.
You sure you want to ask?
Your home of ESPN Radio. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Can't assume anything. I don't even know what you asked me, but I just wanted to say that.
right, coming up at the top of the hour, Steve Merril is going to join us from Pro Sports Info, and you're going to want to pay attention. I might slip a few games in there. I probably will slip a few games in there that are in Beat the Big Dog. I'm trying to help you out as much as possible. Usually we do Beat the Big Dog before Steve Merril. We've been doing that lately, and then all you get is, Grizz's advice. So now, not only will you get Grizz's advice, but you get Steve Merril's advice on a few of these games, okay? So, now we'll have both. Grizz, what are you, 12 and 12? Is that what I understand?
Oh, yeah.
12 and 12, which is better than the listeners. I mean, it's not, it's not like 18 and 6 or anything, but I mean, it's 12 and 12. All you're losing is the VIG. So we'll have Steve Merril next. Beat the Big Dog, and a couple of other things that I want to get into, because we have found a serious weakness in Alabama's game over the past couple of years that I need to share with you. We'll get into that as well. All coming up in hour 2 of the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Sitting here with Ann Adams of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Rise Real Estate. Is it a good time to sell your home, Ann?
Yes, it is. We have people relocating from all over the country.
Why should we choose Rise Real Estate?
Well, we've been selling real estate in North Alabama for 36 years and have sold more real estate than any other real estate company, period.
Do you help your customers through the entire process?
Yes, our agents are with you during the whole process from start to finish, from beginning to end.
In your relocation services, you have a whole team.
Yes, we have a dedicated relocation department helping customers move seamlessly into the area.
Ann Adams has been writing contracts for the last 36 years. She has the experience to help you list and sell your home, downsize your home, or help pick the perfect spot north of Alabama for you to build a future.
Call Ann Adams at 256-337-2625 or on the web at www.bhsriserealestate.com.
Maybe the air doesn't blow like it should, or it's needing new tires, or you're just ready for something newer. It's time to move up, time to trade up. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and it's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your current car or truck is worth more than you know. In fact, we'll buy your vehicle even if you don't trade. We have nearly 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified or low mileage gently used vehicles with great warranties. They've passed a 172-point inspection by certified technicians, come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. It's the perfect time to trade in and trade up because your vehicle is worth more right now at Woody Anderson Ford. Corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. It looks like Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady will have another target when he returns to Foxborough Sunday night in one of the most anticipated games in any sport in years as he takes on his former team and coach, the Patriots and Bill Belichick. Tampa Bay today activated receiver Antonio Brown from the reserve COVID-19 list, so he's on track to play at New England. New Orleans Saints and Pelicans owner Gail Benson revealed the team's long-term succession plans in detail for the first time. They'll be sold with the goal of keeping the teams in New Orleans and distributing the proceeds to charities that benefit the people of New Orleans. Major League Baseball's postseason impact game series finale, Yankees Blue Jays tonight, 7 Eastern, ESPN+. New York's got a one-game lead on Boston for the top AL wildcard spot. Red Sox lead the Mariners by a half game, and Blue Jays by one game for the second AL wildcard.
Another year of Coach Saban in Tuscaloosa. You know what that means.
I've been a part of a team since I was 9 years old. It scares me to ever think of the day when I wouldn't be a part of a team.
Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network and the Nick Saban Show is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live, here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Elle McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back, hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show here on a Beat the Big Dog Thursday. And because I've been beating you guys like a rented mule for the last several weeks, I decided to flip the order of where we put Beat the Big Dog. I'm going to put it after Steve Merril from Pro Sports Info. Usually we do Beat the Big Dog, then we talk to Steve Merril, but then you guys don't get the benefit. You need every help. Look, you need every advantage that you can get, all right? Not that 4-2 was bad last week by you guys. 4-2 is very good. That's 66%. I mean, you can buy your groceries with that. I understand that. I was 6-0. And then I gave you 2 bonus picks to get to 8-0. I'm just saying, all right? So it's just been that kind of a run. So now I give you Steve Merril from ProSportsInfo.com on a Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and maybe he can help you finally win that food from Bad Daddy's Burger Bar. Steve, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Tom, doing well. Not doing as well as you, my man. You've been red hot, I hear.
Yeah, and you know, there's a technique, and you are great with numbers, and you lay out a lot of numbers, and I think that's a really good way to do things, and that gives you that consistency throughout the entire season. I have a tendency, and I don't know how you do this, I try to get a fix in my mind what I think the line should be on a game before I see the lines come out. So like on Saturday, I start thinking about next week's games, after the game Saturday night, and I go to great lengths not to look at the line first. And there were 3 games that I thought Notre Dame was going to be a 2 or 3 point favorite. They're a 2-point dog. I thought that Alabama would be like 7 and 8, 9, somewhere in there. They're 14.5. And I thought that the Georgia would be like an 11 or 12 point favorite. It's 18.5. So that's kind of the way. Do you do that? Do you try to like come up with your own number first and then look at what the official line is to see if something seems like it's out of whack?
Yeah, and I have a kind of basically a statistical system that makes several power ratings. So, I'll do it in my head just for, kind of to try to figure it out, but I really rely on my numbers. So when they come out, I'll see if they match or not. And the Notre Dame game's an interesting one because I actually have Notre Dame as a big favorite in that game. I really don't have a strong opinion, but I probably would lean Cincinnati. I feel like the Bearcats are going to win it for some reason, but they probably could have lost to Notre Dame, to Indiana a couple of weeks ago. It's a huge step up in class, but yeah, the power rating, the line is just a part of the equation. Obviously, the bottom line is that you always want to find value, and all these things are worth something in the line. So even though my power rating is my favorite Notre Dame, I think it's a potential flat spot. I think Cincinnati's the biggest game they've ever played. I think Cincinnati's power rating is a little underrated, probably because they always play weaker opponents. They never get a chance to step up in class. So all of that is worth a couple points. In the overall equation, when you're handicapping, everyone thinks it's about picking one team or the other. It's about picking value because you can love a team, like you said, going into the game, but if they're 7 point too big of a favorite, you got to pass on it because that's all factored in. So the odds makers do a pretty good job in general. Our job is to try to find those 3 or 4 games out of 50 every week in which the line is truly off by several points, and there's not many of them.
Yeah, this is the biggest game that Cincinnati has played ever, you'd have to say, but it is at Notre Dame. They broke through to pull away from Wisconsin late last week, and when you look at Notre Dame's schedule, this may be their last one that is, their only chance to get into the playoff is likely to be 12-0 because they have no conference championship game. And, as you look down the rest of the schedule, you don't see really anybody else they're not going to be favored over. So for Notre Dame here, they slip up here, their playoff chances go out the window, I think.
Yeah, it's really probably a must-win for both schools, and it's not only a must-win, but it's a great opportunity for both schools to pretty much lock up a playoff spot because they do have a very manageable schedule after this, especially Cincinnati obviously played in a non-Power 5 conference. With Clemson having 2 losses, with Ohio State already dropping a game, the door is definitely open. But one of the reasons I think it could be a little bit of a flat spot for Notre Dame, normally wouldn't say a top 10 battle would be a flat spot for the home team, but
right.
They're coming off of that back-and-forth game against Florida State. They had a dangerous game against Toledo, a very good MAC team in week 2. And then, of course, the Wisconsin game last week, a game in which they were outgained in total yards despite winning 41-13. They had a 5-1 turnover advantage in that game. So on the season, last week alone, they ran for 3 yards on 32 carries despite scoring 41 points. On the season, they're averaging 80 yards a game, less than 3 yards a carry. Cincinnati's averaging 5 yards a rush. So, like I said, my power ratings favor Notre Dame to win. That's because they played a much stronger schedule. And so I always have to take these early power ratings with a grain of salt. I get a sneaky feel that Cincinnati's going to step up. And then one other thing, they have a bye week coming in. We talk about a flat spot for Notre Dame, 4 straight big games. Cincinnati's coming off a bye. So a lot of things set up well for the Bearcats. We'll see if they can step up in class. They did it last year against a good Central Florida team. Obviously, Notre Dame's a much, much better defensive opponent. They covered. They lost by only 3 as an 8-point dog in the bowl game against Georgia. You have to be careful with that game, of course, because that wasn't 100% focused Georgia. They had bigger pictures than just playing Cincinnati in a bowl game. But the Bearcats, haven't had the chance to do this before, and I think they get it done. But we'll see. It'll be an interesting game to watch, indeed.
Yeah, and Notre Dame, 8 of their 12 opponents come off a bye before they play Notre Dame, which is just absolutely insane. Let's stay up there for a minute because you talked about Wisconsin, and that's the number 1 run defense in the country. Nobody has been able to run the ball against them, and now they take on a Michigan team that runs the ball, like nobody else in the Big Ten. Not only do they run it well, they run it often. I mean, that's just what they seem to want to do right now. They're playing 1950s football. So it's kind of strength on strength up there. That game opened, I think, Wisconsin is a slight favorite and has steadily grown. I believe it's 4.5 now. What's your thoughts about Michigan? Are they the real deal as they take on a Wisconsin team that now has most of their hopes dashed after their second loss already early in the season?
Yeah, I think that's a good point you bring up about Wisconsin, because keep in mind last year they had a lot of COVID issues, several shutdowns, and then they were a very good team last year in the Big Ten. And then, of course, the powers that be said, hey, you got to play at least 6 regular season games to be eligible for anything. It didn't look like Wisconsin was going to get there, and they just kind of tanked it after that. And then all of a sudden they changed the rule for Ohio State. They started having trouble getting all their games in. So it was a tough season last year for Wisconsin. We did see them kind of toss to town, that situation. So we'll see what happens here. But like you said, 2 tough losses against a very good Penn State team and a decent Notre Dame team, obviously. And by the way, in those 2 games, they've had an 8-1 turnover deficit. So both of those losses a little misleading. And last week, once again, as I mentioned a moment ago, giving up 41 points to Notre Dame was extremely misleading. Wisconsin's defense actually played pretty good. That was all because of turnovers, easy scores. They outgained Notre Dame overall in the game. They held Penn State. They only lost that one 16-10. So it's understandable why this is a low total. I saw the look ahead as high as almost 50. It's now 43. So, this is a situation, 45 maybe, where this is a situation where, 2 teams that run the ball a lot. You got to figure it's going to be a grind-out, slow-down game. It's very hard for me to play unders in college football nowadays. But both teams running the ball, both teams pretty good defensively. It's understandable why the total's dropping.
Steve Merril with us from ProSportsInfo.com. All right, to this Georgia-Arkansas game, I don't often get startled by a number. I was startled by that number. When I saw that number come out, 19.5 at the time, I think it's 18.5 or so now, I was startled by Arkansas getting those kind of points after hammering Texas and Texas A&M. Now, everybody and their brothers trying to convince me why Georgia is the pick here to cover this. We had Reese Davis on Tuesday night, and he thinks that that Georgia will cover. Our own Wes Neighbors is a former All-SEC offensive lineman at Alabama. He thinks Georgia's just too good in their defensive line and that they will pull away and cover that number. And a lot of the analytics look at it and say, yeah, Georgia pulls away and cover that number. I just can't get my head around Arkansas, the way they play defense, getting 18.5. What do you think?
A couple things. First, so my power ratings actually favor Georgia by 24 in this one.
Yeah.
So I remember
that's what all the analytics say.
But yeah, when you really, yeah, exactly. And it's not it's a contrarian call because I'm looking at the overall public consensus. As you know, the biggest video I do on WagerTalk TV, WagerTalk.com every weekend is the Fade the NFL Public, where I talk about the most public plays in the NFL. And last year I started that late November, fading those plays through the Super Bowl, went 31-7. It's not always that easy. But one thing is you usually give up line value when you're on a public side. Arkansas is actually a public dog in this game, and that's one of the reasons the line is lower than what the analytics say. So I actually think the public in general is on Arkansas in this game, and that's normally what we see in a lot of these games we're talking about. The public normally plays favorites and the overs, as you know. That's usually the case of that NFL video. But the one time they play underdogs is usually when it's a top 10, top 20 underdog, a good underdog. We see it a lot in the NCAA tournament. We see it in the NFL playoffs. And we see it in these top 25 games. So I actually think there is still some value with Georgia. Arkansas caught Texas in their first road game ever with the new coaching staff, young players. Impressive last week against A&M. A&M was a 6-point favorite in that game. That was an impressive win. But now you got to wonder what they have left. Another big game, back-to-back weeks. Georgia's used to being in this situation. And I think there's one of the rare opportunities we actually get some value with Georgia in this one. And although it might seem like a big number, it might not be big enough. We'll see if Arkansas is for real. Their numbers have looked really good, but this is obviously a big step up in class. I'm giving
our listeners who are going to play Beat the Big Dog next, I'm going to give them a free thought of the way I'm thinking here. I'm not going to let you people talk me off of Arkansas. Everybody likes Georgia here. Now, I may be totally wrong. I will not let you people talk me off of Arkansas here.
Well, and Tom, what's funny about that is when you say everyone likes Georgia, I'd normally say that's more of a reason to take Arkansas. But I think we can maybe say this is a little bit of a sharp square divide because a lot of the people you're mentioning there, are pretty sharp. But the general consensus that I'm seeing in the betting markets is 60-70% Arkansas so far. So we'll see what happens. It's interesting.
Now, Alabama and Ole Miss, this was a little higher than I thought, too, because it feels like Ole Miss can score against anybody, and Alabama's defense has shown some vulnerability. They're not the best defense he's had in 10 years. Now, maybe they could end up being that way, but right now it hasn't played that way against quality opponents, which is really just Florida for Alabama. It was a 15-point game last season, but that's very deceptive. It was a 4-point game with 7 minutes to go in the game, and Alabama pulls away. I think they chipped one in with a minute to go in the game with a 39-yard run by Najee Harris to blow that number up. In fact, I still don't think they covered the number when they blew that number up, but it ended up being a 15-point game. So Ole Miss gets 14.5 now at Alabama. The over/under on this, I think, opened around 80, which is an unbelievable number. I think it's down to about 77.5 still, which is just a grotesquely high number. But last year they went like 110 points. So I don't know. Ole Miss plus 14.5.
Now, this one actually opened about 75.5. It's up 79.5, 80. It's been rising. And this is there's some 80s out there now. So yeah, this is going to be one of the highest totals we see this season. And I don't think it's high enough. I mean, there's only one way I would play this total, and that's the over. I agree with that move. As you mentioned last year, Ole Miss, new program, Lane Kiffin, no practice time. Last year was a very difficult time to put in new systems and whatnot. And they still were unstoppable offensively, but could not stop anyone defensively. Now, they are a lot better defensively this year so far. They've given up only 20.5 per game, only about 4.5 yards per play. In fact, they're only giving up 0.2 yards more per play than Alabama. So this is an improved Ole Miss defense, and that's where this total gets tricky. Ole Miss and Alabama combined average 100 points combined offensively, but they only give up 38.5 combined defensively. So, which one's going to win out here? I think the offenses both move the ball at will. The problem when you get a total at 80, though, is that you almost need touchdowns every other drive. You can't settle for field goals. You can't bring field goals to a touchdown fight, and that's what you need here. My power ratings actually favor Alabama by 20. Once again, it's bigger than you would expect. You are going to normally pay a premium with Bama, but I do think the fact they've only covered once their last 3 games, and obviously, as you mentioned, struggled against Florida, the price is a little discounted. I like this Ole Miss team this year. I do think they're for real. I used them back in week 1 against Louisville for my clients. A huge step up in class here, though, after playing Austin Peay and Tulane. Once again, they get the bye, though. Another situation where the feisty underdog gets a bye here. So I could definitely understand some things pointing to Ole Miss in this game. But once again, I'm not sure the line is high enough. We'll see how it plays out. Over would be the only way I'd play the total.
You know, I've used Alabama twice in my 24 picks that I've made so far this year, and I was wrong both times. And you'd think this is a team that you have most knowledge about, and I thought the number was too big against Miami, and it wasn't. And then I took Alabama, and I said, I'm going to go ahead and lay it against Florida, and it was 21-3 in the first quarter, and it looked like we were geniuses. The thing that always kills handicapping, especially it seems like with 19 and 20-year-old kids, is that issue of maintaining intensity. What Nick Saban said, we played to the scoreboard again, up 21-3, and my team lost their edge, they lost their intensity, and almost lost the football game. That's the part that always drives me nuts, was that game what it was in the first quarter, or was that game what it was in the second half? And that's what's tough about these kids.
Well, and keep in mind, too, when you're catching more than 2 touchdowns, we talk about backdoor cover potential all the time. And teams like Florida obviously have it. They're a good team offensively. And boy, does Ole Miss have it. I mean, talk about one of the best offensive teams in the country. They throw for almost 10 yards per pass. So that is a concern. And this line is, it's sitting right on that key number. It might be a little short based on my power ratings. It opened 16.5. It's come down to 14.5, but that's not much of a move. The move is going to be if it gets below 14. And I'm seeing the public a little bit on Ole Miss in this game once again. As I mentioned, when they're on the big top 10, top 20 matchups, they do side towards the dog. So I do think there's a chance this line could hit 14 or less by kickoff on Saturday.
All right, and finally, give me one NFL feel. This game here, I mean, sometimes the best bet is to stay away. We have to put it in Beat the Big Dog because it's a game that's very interesting on Sunday night. But the Bucs will lay 6.5 now at the Patriots. We should just say this is Brady laying 6.5 at Belichick here, and it's just so hard to handicap. You wonder, Tom Brady and them, they go in there, they're coming off of a loss, the emotion of the Patriots, who knows who better. I don't know that it comes down to any of that. How the crowd will react to Brady and how the crowd will react to the Patriots. If the Patriots are stinking up the joint a little bit, do they jump off of their own team and jump on Tom Brady? So many things about this game, but the Bucs are a 6.5-point favorite on the road at the New England Patriots. What do you think?
Well, I mean, a couple of things jump out, and I want to get your thoughts on both of them. Of course, you're the one that first told me that angle about Tom Brady after bedtime.
Yeah.
It applies here. He literally goes to bed after 8 o'clock, and we semi-joke about it, but it's also semi-serious. His numbers in the primetime games the last couple of years since we've been talking about it have been much weaker. Cross-country travel back from the Ram game last week. Tampa's still a very one-dimensional team. They barely ran the ball last week, but they threw for over 400 yards in that loss. Another thing I'll point out here is I'm going to have my NFL Fade the Public video this weekend on WagerTalk.com, WagerTalk TV. As I mentioned, right now it's looking like the most public play of the weekend is going to be Tampa Bay on Sunday night. So this line will likely rise higher with all that action coming in, even more so on Sunday evening on the Bucs. We look at the current line, as you said, it's right below that key number of a touchdown. It opened 5.5. It's now 6.5. I am seeing some 7s pop already. So if you like Tampa, you play it right now because that 6.5 will not be there Sunday. I'm pretty sure of that. It might even hit 7.5. So if you like Tampa, you lay the 6.5 now. If you like New England, definitely wait. There's already some 7s starting to show. But what I want to ask you, Tom, is I think that is a handicapping factor. You say, well, Brady knows McDaniel's offense, but he's not playing defense. Maybe he can give the coaching staff some tips, but they have film. They know that stuff too. He knows what Belichick likes to do, but so do the coaching staffs. Belichick's been there 20 years. But I wonder how much of an edge the Patriots will have, especially one of the best coaches ever in Belichick, game planning wise. Well, they know how to get to Tom Brady. They know he's slow of foot. What else do they know? So, as a former coach, Tom, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? My initial thought is that New England has the edge knowing Tom Brady because they can do stuff to get to him.
Yeah, I don't know too much if it'll be getting to him. This is what I think. Bill Belichick, after sitting with Tom Brady for 20 years and talking about the things that gave them problems defensively in coverages. See, I think Belichick will know what kind of coverages could create a problem for Tom Brady. And we've seen Tom Brady late in his career throw the ball to the other team at times. We've seen him have some stinker games. So I don't know that he can impact the pressure that they can get, and they can kind of negate the run game because of the fact that the Bucs can't run the ball. What I think is Bill Belichick has always been, and I had some experience with him back when I was coaching when he was at the Browns. I spent some time with the Browns and did some chalk time with him, and that's 100 years ago. But his forte has always been coverage. His deal is the defensive backfield. The old saying is, if you make a mistake on the D-line, you give up 6 inches. You make a mistake at linebacker, you give up 6 yards. You make a mistake in the defensive backfield, you give up 6 points. And I heard that from Belichick, but it's the first time I heard that. And so what I wonder is that will Belichick have some disguised coverages that will confuse Brady, and that maybe that's where they can create some problems for Brady. How much does Brady know that defense? You know, the old saying, too, is that, you know, I taught him everything he knows. I didn't teach him everything I know. So I favor Belichick in the matchup, but I don't know if they have the horses. The other wild card here is this is not too big a moment for Mac Jones. I mean, you say what you want about it, but this is not too big a moment for that kid because this is a guy that played in big game after big game after big game, national championship games, crowds that are much bigger than the crowds even that are at an NFL game. This is not too big a moment for Mac Jones, and don't sleep on that kid as well. I mean, 2 of those interceptions he threw last week bounced off of guys. So, you know, Mac could go big here. You know, we've seen him perform well in big moments in the past.
Yeah, and the thing that worries me is you look at the matchup here, and obviously, as I said, Tampa very heavy passing. They don't run the ball once again this year, so you got to stop the pass. And you look in New England, they've allowed only 160 passing yards per game. They've held all 3 opponents to 185 or less. You're like, wow, that's great. They have faced 3 terrible passing teams in Miami, the New York Jets, and the Saints, because Drew Brees is no longer there. The Saints threw for 110 yards last week and won 28-13.
Yeah.
But on the season, the 3 opponents that New England has faced have averaged 4.8 yards per pass. Tampa's averaging 7.4. So just don't know how good that Patriot pass defense is because they just haven't been tested yet. And as you said, you got the Mac Jones factor. You know, you're talking about a true rookie against a legend. But I agree with you. I think that who knows who edge goes to Belichick, especially being a defensive mind. You know, maybe does that get us leaning under maybe? You know, it's hard for me to ever play under anymore in these NFL primetime games. By the way, the primetime NFL games have almost all gone over this season. So I doubt I'd be on an under in this game. But, you know, once again, that would obviously, if Brady has trouble, that would favor the under. But it's a pretty discounted price here. It opened 50.5. It's down to 49 now. So it's been dropping, actually.
Yeah. Very, very interesting stuff there as well. All right. Tremendous stuff. Tell them how they can take advantage of some of your knowledge.
Yeah, I'm going to have a college football video Friday and also my Fade the Public NFL video, which is at well over 70% since the past year on WagerTalk TV. It's on YouTube, WagerTalk TV, and you can find me directly on WagerTalk.com, WagerTalk.com, Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L on Twitter at Steve Merril. And if you'd like a free best bet, mention that you heard this show and email me, Steve@ProSportsInfo.com. Free best bet, Steve@ProSportsInfo.com.
Always a pleasure, Steve. I appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, let's get a break in here. When we return, we will play Beat the Big Dog. What do you say, Grizz? Let's go caller number 3. All right, caller number 3. What number did you want to go? How about go caller number 3?
Let's do it.
All right,
For Bryce Harper, number 3.
All right, Bryce Harper. We'll go caller number. Well, other than that, because if we want to go Austin Riley, we got to go caller number 27, and it'll
take a minute.
It'll take a minute. Caller number 3 right now. 256-576-4977. 256-576-4977. Be caller number 3. You play Beat the Big Dog next. Remember, you have you have to have not played it already this year if you want to get in. Do it now, right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Simple Green is perfect for making your auto, RV, cycling, boating, and other sporting equipment look like new. Visit them at simplegreen.com.
College football tonight in the ACC. Virginia traveling to take on Miami. Cavaliers 0-2 in conference play and looking for their first win. Canes playing their conference opener. Miami a 5.5-point home favorite. The over-under 62.5. The latest odds for Defensive Player of the Year. Myles Garrett of the Browns now the odds-on favorite, plus 400 odds, followed by Aaron Donald at plus 450. Chandler Jones at plus 1,200, and Jalen Ramsey, T.J. Watt, and Nick Bosa each at plus 1,600 odds. NFL Thursday night, the Jaguars at the Bengals. Cincinnati the home favorite, minus 7.5. The over-under 46. Jacksonville 0-3 outright and against the spread. Bengals 2-1 against the spread and outright.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
In 2 years, you can have a career that makes sense for you. Skill up and earn a living working with your hands, or work on the front line of computer information systems and cybersecurity. Get a degree that lets your healing heart take care of people. Help design and manufacture the most advanced cars, machinery, or even aerospace components. In just 2 years, great careers are within your reach at Drake State Community and Technical College. Visit drakestate.edu to apply.
Guys, when we were 20, we never had to worry about spontaneity. And now that we've gotten older, spontaneity has been replaced with pills and injections. We're just trying to keep that intimacy, but it's taken away from spontaneity. At Advanced Life Clinic, we now offer GainsWave, which uses sound waves to non-invasively treat this issue with no need for pills or injections. Just give us a call, 256-888-9367, or check us out online, advancedlifeclinic.com.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Ann Adams. Ann, I understand you have some exciting news.
Yes, Wes, I do. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services was just recognized in the 30th Annual Harris Poll Equitrin as the Real Estate Agency Brand of the Year and the most trusted real estate brand.
That is awesome news, Ann. Great companies in Huntsville, Alabama, winning awards is what we want. Is it a great time to list your home?
Yes, it is. The inventory is low and the market is heating up.
And I understand you're also looking for agents.
I am. We are so busy, Wes, we need agents to keep up with the demand.
Ann Adams and Rise Real Estate has been doing business in North Alabama for the last 35 years. If you want to do business with someone you can trust, she has been writing contracts since she was 9 years old. Call Ann today at 256-337-2625.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner of University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. And a quick shout out to my son, Avery Seaton, number 19. Stop into University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including our all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and the sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in the Kia. Go Mustangs!
Brooks & Collier has always been about making the most of your outdoors. Our lush greenhouse and new furniture ideas will inspire you, but we're also about value. Our brands are so handsome, they'll make themselves comfortable inside or out, and so well made, they'll weather the weather for many years to come. Our staff can consult you on the right choices, and Lucy for sure can show us the sofa that's the most comfortable. Make the most of your outdoors. Meridian Street and at brooksandcollier.com.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
This is Paul Feinbaum. Listen to me coming up today at 2. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show
on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. We had our third caller, and then he wasn't there. So if you want in, the next one will be the fourth caller, but you'll be the one that plays Beat the Big Dog. So go ahead and give it another shot to get in there. Whoever you were that got in on the third call, your phone dropped out on us. So 576-4977. 576-4977. I have 4 college games to pick, and I have 2 NFL games to pick. I don't give you the pick unless we do Beat the Big Dog. All right? So if you want to get in, this is your shot to go ahead and get in, and we'll get that call screened here in a moment and get you on the air with us. I just want to – you remember last year, the narrative on Tom Brady changed so much down the stretch. Yeah, they were 7-4 through 11 weeks with no crowds. They were 7-4 through 11 weeks. You remember week 9 last year? It was a Sunday night game, and they were playing the New Orleans Saints. Now, I know New England's not New Orleans. Tom Brady had the worst game of his entire career. The Bucs got blown out 38-3. Grizz, you remember that game? They got blown out 38-3 against the Saints last year.
Yeah, they tried to do the same thing with the Patriots or with the Packers at the beginning of the year, thinking that they're going to make it all the way and win the Super Bowl because they lost 38-3 to the Saints, just like the Bucs did.
You don't know. And it was the worst game of Brady's entire career. He had a 40.4 passer rating in that game. He was 22 of 38 for 209 yards and 3 interceptions. And at that point in time, they had been swept by their division rivals, and it looked like, you know what? And then Brady went off. He went off for the last 5 games and in the playoffs. So the whole narrative of Tom Brady, and he is the GOAT, but the whole narrative of Tom Brady at this age has been about what he did in the last 5 or 6 games of the regular season and in the playoff last year. This is not the last 5 or 6 games of the season. The emotions are going to be very, very high. He could say whatever he wants about it, but the emotions are going to be very, very high. I'm just saying. Should I throw it out there?
You know, there are rules to success, my friend. Rule number 1 is know what you know what you don't know, and know that I got to know everything you know.
All right, we are going to play Beat the Big Dog. What happened to Josh? So Josh was there, and then he's gone. Are you guys all lemons?
I don't know how to say this without sounding a little rude, but you're a lemon.
I mean, are there sunspots out there or something, Grizz?
Yeah, it's swamp gas off of Venus.
Is that what it is?
Rivers. Yeah.
It's Venus swamp gas? All right, so
swamp gas from Venus came down, hit some river. It was weird.
So we asked for caller number 3, and now we're up to caller number 5. All right, so because we seem to be having a problem getting you guys on there. So, Josh, if that was you and you want to try back in, you could try back in. You hear the phone ringing, so I'm sure he's probably coming back in, or somebody else can jump in that spot at 576-4977. That'll get you in to Beat the Big Dog, and we'll try and get this done. I mean, that's all I can say, Grizz, is that we're going to try and get it done. All right, we'll see who are look, I don't want you to be 11. I want you to win the food. Bad Daddy's Burger Bar. Let's let Grumpy take a shot at it. He hasn't done it yet this year, has he? Wait a minute. Josh may be back on the line. Well, you know, do we let Josh jump over Grumpy if that's Josh getting back in? I think we go with Grumpy. If Grumpy's good to go, then we go with Grumpy. Grumpy, welcome to the show. How are you? Grumpy.
Hey, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. How you doing, man?
Hey, pretty good. Hey, have you lost to a caller this year?
I have not lost yet this year. I'm 4-0 against the callers this year. 18-6 on the season against the spread. The callers are 9-15.
You haven't lost to a caller this year, so that verifies that I hadn't played this year.
You have not played this year. Ah! That's right. That does verify that you have not played. You're usually on my pick, so this is going to be in. Now, Grumpy has a interesting technique sometimes, and some of you guys figured this out when you started beating me last year. We would take like the same picks, and then you'd put all your eggs in one basket on one game. So we'll see if Grumpy wants to go down that path as well. Josh, you're going to have to give it a shot next week, man. That's all I can say, Josh. Josh kept calling back in, but you're going to have to give it a shot next week. All right, Grumpy, I've got 4 college games and 2 NFL games. Do you want to pick first on the first game, or do you want to pick first on the second game?
I'll pick first on the first games. What the heck?
All right. So you're going to pick first on the first game, which means Grizz gets a chance to give you his opinion on the game. If you want to block your ears, block your ears. I don't know if that this means
He's
anything
not
to
going
you.
to care.
All right, Grizz, here you go. Cincinnati minus 1.5 at Notre Dame.
I'm going Cincinnati.
He says Cincinnati. What do you think, Grumpy?
Well, let me say, I picked Cincinnati to go to the playoffs on one of those betting sites, and I'll get paid like 8-1 or something. So I've already got money on Cincinnati. Notre Dame's looking better every week. It's at Notre Dame. Give me Notre Dame.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm taking Notre Dame in this spot as well. Biggest game ever for Cincinnati. Notre Dame, the stadium will be in a froth. I like Cincinnati hasn't overly impressed me yet this year, although neither had Notre Dame. I like the way they played against Wisconsin, but I'm going to take Notre Dame. I'll take the home team there. It's basically just about a pick-em game. All right, in our next game, I'll pick first, then Grizz, and then Grumpy. Arkansas gets 18 and a hook at Georgia. Everybody and their brother is telling me why Georgia is the right side here. I'm taking the Hogs. I just think that this is a slobber knocker. I just think it's too many points. I know that Georgia hasn't given up any points at all. Arkansas will struggle. Georgia's got that great interior of their defensive line. But I'm hoping that KJ Jefferson is pretty healthy. If he's pretty healthy, I think he's the wild card in this thing. I think Arkansas's defense is very good. I don't know that Georgia can score against a really good defense either. They were 10-7 against Clemson. I don't like JT Daniels. I am going to take the Hogs here. Grizz, what do you think?
I'm going to go with you. Like you said, JT Daniels is having some issues too, health-wise. So I'm definitely gonna go ride the wave and ride the Arkansas bandwagon on this one.
All right, what do you think, Grumpy?
Yeah, Georgia's only touchdown was not an offensive touchdown against Clemson. So Murray State hung 17 on them. I'll go with the Hogs.
I didn't know that JT Daniels was that iffy at Grizz. I mean, if Stetson Bennett comes out for this game, oh my God, this line would crater. I think if that were to happen.
I saw something where he's like still dealing with like some arm issues or something. So
listen,
it could be, who knows?
I think he's a lightweight. I mean, he stayed out for 3 or 4 games last season before he was good to go. They kept saying, well, it seems like he's good to go, and he couldn't go. I think the guy's a lightweight. I'm just saying he's a California lightweight. All right,
he also went out to the bar on a Saturday night too after all that. So,
yeah,
from what I saw,
couldn't play, but he go out to the bar. All right, Grizz, you give Grumpy your thoughts on this one. Ole Miss 14.5 at Alabama. I am 0-2 on the picks that involve Alabama games this season. What do you think?
And I think you picked Alabama both times because it was Florida.
I picked Miami. I picked Miami and was wrong, and then I picked Alabama against Florida and was wrong.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Florida. I think both were Florida teams. Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with Ole Miss on this one. I think it's gonna be a close one.
All right, what do you think, Grumpy?
I just flipped a coin, but I didn't designate which one was heads or tails. It came up tails, by the way. Let me get, I don't know. That hook is what's killing me, Tom.
Yeah.
Golly, Wally. Where's the game at? Alabama? Give me Alabama.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on the other side of this one here. I'm going to fade Alabama here. They can win this game by 2 touchdowns. Ole Miss can score late. and get the backdoor cover. I think the line is going to continue to drop. It started around 16.5. I think it could dip underneath the 14 number, which would be key for those of you that are actually going to bet the game. But we have it at 14.5 right now. I'm going to take Ole Miss. They played it so tough last year. I think Ole Miss has improved more than Alabama. Alabama is not as good offensively as they were last year. There's no doubt about that. They don't run the ball the way they did last year. They're a little bit one-dimensional. The question is Ole Miss's defense gotten better compared to last year in retrospect to Alabama's offense slipping a little bit compared to last year? And then that's where I make this a little bit closer game. I'm going to take Ole Miss. I'm 0-2 on games that I picked with Bama. But I'll take Ole Miss here, and if I'm wrong, I'll be happy. All right, in this next one, I pick first on this one. Auburn gets 3.5 at LSU. We don't know who's going to start at quarterback. I can't see how it isn't T.J. Finley. I think it would be much better for Bo Nix to be coming off of the bench here. The number seems a little bit soft coming off of the way Auburn played last week, but now Auburn was within 7 of LSU, and I think that Penn State, and I think Penn State is a much better team than LSU. It's a night game. They'll be lathered up. I'll take LSU and lay the 3.5. Grizz?
I just don't know after watching them, have to scratch and claw against Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State obviously has the better defensive line than Auburn. And I just think that I think being away, it's going to be difficult for Auburn. But I'm going to go with LSU, but I feel like Auburn is going to make it close.
All right, Grumpy, what do you think? Your Auburn Tigers in Death Valley.
I'll take the Tigers.
Not hard.
Bengal Tigers or Finley Tigers?
Yeah, I guess give me LSU and I'll go with LSU there.
All right.
Auburn's looking pretty weak to me.
I was so high on them after the Penn State game. I thought, oh,
well,
man.
at least maybe we don't have to put up with overthrow Bo anymore.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. What's your feeling? Do you feel like, as an Auburn fan, do you feel like they got to roll T.J. Finley?
I am so ready to change the page. I mean, I'm surprised there's not T-shirts that say overthrow Bo. He's been overthrowing people for 2.5 years now. It's very frustrating to watch a kid just chunk it down the field with no regard of how fast his receiver is. Anyway, sorry.
All right. By the way, there is a T-shirt out in California that is it says Gwathney on it. I never heard of that one. Gwathney for the goat. Shohei Ohtani, the Gwathney T-shirt. That's a good idea. Yeah. All right. 2 NFL games now. Grizz, give me your opinion here. The Carolina Panthers are 3-0. No Christian McCaffrey. They go to Dallas. And they get 4.5. What do you think?
Nah, I don't like it. J.C. Horn's hurt, or he's out for the season. I think Christian McCaffrey's gone.
Yeah.
This is the end of the Panthers. This was a nice little 3-0 run, but they didn't really play anybody either, maybe other than the Saints, that were like a real tough game. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go with the Cowboys, and I cringe every time that I even talk Cowboys or take a Cowboy. I'm gonna have to go with the Cowboys here.
All right, Grumpy, what do you think?
Give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, I will make it 3 on the Cowboys here as well. The Cowboys were very impressive with Dak Prescott last week, and Sam Darnold. I'm not 100% sold on that yet, and I just don't think.
And they played the Texans and the Jets.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
And the Saints.
They dismantled the Saints. The Saints look terrible in that game.
They hammered the Saints, but they don't have Christian McCaffrey, which is a much bigger loss than even J.C.
Jubba Hubbard played amazing in the replacement, but like I said, J.C. Horn's out. They're gonna have some problems on the back end of that defense.
All right, final game. I picked first on this one. We talked about it a little bit there with Steve Merril. The Buccaneers and Tom Brady are minus 6.5. They're 6.5-point favorites at Bill Belichick and the Patriots. I'm going with the coach here, man. I'm going with the fact that Tom Brady has struggled in night games. It is literally past his bedtime. Tom Brady says he goes to bed every night at 8 o'clock, and your body clock means something. And now this game won't even kick off until 8:20 Central Time or Eastern Time. So this is past his bedtime. I think he's going to be all jacked up. I think that the Patriots got nothing to lose here. Got to win back their home crowd. Belichick, I'm going with coach here. I'll take the Patriots. Grizz, what do you think?
I'm going to have to go with the Patriots here. I don't see Tom Brady, losing back-to-back games, especially like an embarrassing back-to-back game, even though the Rams are a great team, so it's not really an embarrassing loss. I just think that I'll take the experienced quarterback over the rookie. It's going to be.
You said that you started by saying I'm going to take the Patriots. Are you taking the
Bucks?
Bucks?
Did I say Patriots? I'm sorry, Bucks. I'm sorry, Bucks.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I don't think they're going to lose.
Yeah.
I don't think the Bucks are going to lose the Patriots back to back. I don't think Tom Brady's going to lose back to back. So I apologize. And like I said, it's going to be a crazy game. Yeah, he talks about he's not going to be reminiscing 20 years at the Patriots and all that stuff. He's going to be doing press conferences and talking about it, and he's going to be all giddy being back, and he's going to want to win over Bill Belichick after what we just listened to Damon Amendola talk about yesterday. So, I think he's going to come out, and I think you're going to see a much better team out of the Bucs in this game.
All right, what do you think, Grumpy?
Hold on, Tom. You're taking the Pats over the Bucs.
I'm taking the Pats with the 6.5.
With the 6.5. Okay. Well, this strategy is hug the bear. Stay as close to your picks as I can, so I'll hug the bear and I'll go with the Pats.
So he did it. He was able to pull it off. He was able to just have one game difference. We agree on Notre Dame. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Who knows? All he knows, he's got a strategy to win. So we agree on Notre Dame getting 1.5 at home. We agree on Arkansas getting 18.5. We differ. I got this whole thing comes down to Ole Miss versus Alabama. I get 14.5 with Ole Miss. He has Alabama to cover, so I'm pulling for Alabama to win the game by 10. We agree on LSU minus 3.5 at home against Auburn. We agree on the Cowboys giving 4.5 to the Panthers. We agree on the Patriots giving 6.5 to the Bucs. So here you go, Grumpy. It's all about you pulling for Alabama and me pulling for Ole Miss.
Yeah. Imagine it. Hug the bear. Hey, listen, there's a game tonight, Virginia versus Miami. I know you like to do your research before you pick one, but just off the cuff before the show's over, tell me if you think that Miami is going to cover the 5.5 against Virginia at Coral Gables. Thanks, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you. I wouldn't.
That's hard.
I'll tell you. Yeah, it is hard. I wouldn't bet this game because Miami is a little bit schizophrenic. Virginia's not great.
They haven't won a game.
But, they're
2-2. I'm sorry, they're both 2-2. I thought I heard earlier that they hadn't won a game. Maybe it was conference play.
Maybe they haven't won a conference game. They haven't won a game against a P5. I'd have to look at their schedule. My first gut reaction is that I would fade Miami, but I would have to look at it a little bit more.
Yeah, they got stomped 59-39 by UNC.
That sounds.
Well, I mean, they gave up 59 points. I mean, we don't know if that's like late game scoring or what. Yeah, they were.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, no, it was just a high-scoring game in that game. And then I think they lost to, Wake Forest? Yeah, Wake Forest by 20.
They lost to Wake Forest.
They beat Illinois, your favorite team, Illinois, 42-14.
They beat Illinois. And Illinois
and
played
they beat
pretty well
William
last
and Mary.
week.
Woo! 43-0.
They don't have enough people. William and Mary needed to go get some more dudes.
I've always liked that school. Ever since like NCAA football, I always picked that school to go through the SEC and win every time.
They were a 10.5 point favorite over Illinois and won that game going away. They were at Carolina. They got 8 and lost by 20, and then they lost to the Wake Forest losses.
They were up 28. They were up 28-24 on North Carolina, but then they gave up 35 unanswered points in the second half and only scored 11. So they scored most of their points in the second quarter against UNC.
The back number on this game is 62. I'm feeling a little undy on this. I'm feeling a little undy on this. If I was making a pick on this game, I would be taking the 5.5 points. I just Miami, but they scare me because you just don't know when Miami's gonna. Are they all of a sudden gonna play to their potential? Whatever that potential is. I mean, they got drubbed by Michigan State. They almost lost to Appalachian State. They were only a 7.5 point favorite in that game against Appy State.
I like App State. I think
App State, yeah. They were only a 7.5 point favorite.
I always liked them in a weird, when they're got to play a big team like that. Ever since that Michigan game.
I would
Sorry,
take Virginia.
Wolverine Dan.
I would take Virginia. I wouldn't hang my hat on it, but I would take Virginia.
It just feels like the last couple of games that I've seen Virginia play, they can't score in the second half. It's shown that. And, if Miami could get on them big early and then kind of control the game in the second half, I would definitely take Miami.
All right, let's get a break in here. We'll come back and wrap it up next with a final segment right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
TOCSports has been there for you. Now, you're probably asking yourself, what does that mean? It means for more than 20 years, Alabama's largest orthopedic group has been there providing coverage and care to more schools and student athletes in the Tennessee Valley than any other group. It means whether you are the star football player, the all-region volleyball ace, or someone who hurt their knee in a weekend pickup basketball game, TOCSports physicians are proud to have the opportunity to care for all your orthopedic needs. It means for parents, coaches, athletes, desk jockeys, or even weekend warriors, TOCSports physicians continue to meet and exceed the orthopedic and sports medicine needs of our community. But most importantly, during these challenging times, we're here for you now, and will continue to be here. So as long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialists from TOCSports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOCSports team to stay committed to you, so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOCSports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Everybody knows the fun begins when you get to the end zone, where you can enjoy half-price apps every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, half-price burgers every Tuesday, plus late-night pizza specials and a spectacular menu that includes jumbo wings, half-pound burgers, Tex-Mex, and an incredible selection of craft beer, and plenty of big-screen TVs. It's all happening at the end zone, 1851 University Drive, 2030 Cecil Ashburn at Jones Valley Station, and coming in early 2022, Mid-City End Zone at 1115 McMurtry next to the Target Shopping Center.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed precision overhead garage door service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision overhead garage door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision overhead garage door service. Call 256-400-4500.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that His mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
The following liner is courtesy of Frank Caliendo. Check out Frank online at frankcaliendo.com.
I tell you what, man, that talking ball's some good stuff. It's some f***ing good stuff, man. I love to listen to these guys. Tell you what, man.
People stay just a little bit longer. We want to play just a little bit longer.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Another segment brought to you by North Alabama Mortgage at North Alabama Mortgage. Well, they got all your mortgage needs covered at North Alabama Mortgage. I'm talking about whether it's a refi or a new finance, a new purchase. North Alabama Mortgage has the answer for you. They'll just do a tremendous job for you. They're great people over there. I'm always recommending great people. That's what I want. I want to know about people. You talk to me about the people. Well, those guys, Brian Hamaker and his crew, are good people, and they're going to guide you through the biggest purchase of your life or a refi. Maybe it's time to do a job around the property, and you want to, you need to pull some money out of the house. You got a lot of money buried in your house. You got to bury it in your house at a very low interest rate as well. So North Alabama Mortgage. Go to NorthAlabamaMortgage.com and learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com. All right. I teased this earlier, Grizz, but we've found a serious weakness in Alabama's game.
Okay.
Over the past couple of years. All right? This is now, look, it seems like the opponents have not been able to capitalize on this shortcoming yet, but it is there. Now, we'll see if it raises its ugly head this week against Ole Miss. But, Grizz, pay attention now. Are you ready for this?
I'm listening.
You listening?
Yep.
Over the last 17 games, Alabama is only 5-12 on the coin toss.
Ooh.
On the coin toss. Now,
gotta get better at that.
They're 17-0 in those games. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
This is an area where the process may be failing a little bit. You know what I mean? I mean, Nick Saban, he covers everything.
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't you be no worse than 50-50 in a coin toss? They're 5-12 in a coin toss.
Man, if you got confidence in your defense, though, a lot of times, most of the time, even when you win, you what do? Defer to the second half. No matter what. So even if your defense is bad or good, it just seems like everyone always wants to defer to the second half and get the ball in the second half.
I don't understand why people defer to Alabama. I don't understand why they win the toss and they defer and they give Alabama the ball so that they can play the entire game from behind.
Yeah.
Why do you do that? Why, if I won the toss against Alabama, I'd give me the damn ball.
Then you go 3 and out, punt, then they score.
Well, yeah, but maybe you could score. Maybe you could take 5 minutes off of the clock and shorten the game.
You score like 2 seconds left in the first half. You're going to get the ball back. Oh, no, you're not. You're not going to get the ball back at second half.
Well, you're not if you defer. You're going to be down 7-0, and then you're going to be down the whole first half. And then by the time you try to go for that 2-for-1 thing, you're down by 18 points by then.
I was seeing as it being closer, okay? Thinking that it would be like a 2-point game by then. Nope. He'd be down by 18.
Stop deferring. But, Saban's got to work on that. 5-12 on a coin toss. Come on. You got to be better than that. Yeah, they won all the games. But you got to be better than that. Thank you to Michael Casagrande of AL.com for the deep dive into that research.
He's probably one of the guys that asked if the game's going to be physical this weekend.
All right, we're done. Coming up next is Chuck Oliver and then Paul Feinbaum. And then the boys will be down at Baumhauer's where you get your shot at winning LSU tickets. Right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tired of the same old menu options everywhere you go? Then you need to try Metro Diner in Huntsville and Madison. The award-winning Metro Diner serves up signature dishes like their Charleston shrimp and grits, famous fried chicken and waffles with strawberry butter, and lots more. Their entire menu is available anytime, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And stop by for brunch on Saturday or Sunday and enjoy the lowest price mimosas in town. Airport Road, Huntsville, and Highway 72 in Madison. In diner or at home, make it Metro Diner.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is SportsCenter. I'm Christine Lisi. Looks like Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady will have another target when he returns to Foxborough Sunday night in one of the most anticipated games in any sport in years as he takes on his former team and coach, the Patriots and Bill Belichick. Tampa Bay today activated receiver Antonio Brown from the reserve COVID-19 list, so he's on